Secrets Unwrapped is brought to you in part by White Rocks Design Studio at Turcotte Design, who's been serving Southern Vermont for over 20 years. Fish Donkey, the future of tournament fishing. Targets Unlimited, Mercer Sports. Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste. Corker Boots, P-Line, Sugar Mountain Trading Company. The Outdoor Experience Guide Service, who has been serving Southern Wisconsin for over 20 years. Cooler Guard Spray with the cleaning power of enzymes. Okuma Fishing, Hoffman Lures Incorporated, and a proud member of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce. Welcome in, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, on a chilly morning here in Altmar, New York. We are out with Marcus
McGivney.
Sorry about that. Anyway, Marcus has been so kind enough to take us out on the Salmon River, and we're going to learn all about Salmon River and steelhead fishing here. And, I want to ask you one thing about this river, and I was thinking about it, right? Is this a man-made river? Or was it always here, and the reservoir is to the north of us? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a man-made river, or was it always here, and then the reservoir was after?
There was originally a stream and a river. Mm-hmm. It's been extremely man-altered over the years.
Oh, I see.
Between the dams and the reservoirs, as well as the man-made impoundments like the bridge right here. Mm-hmm. And you'll see as we go down the river, there's a lot of those things, and I'll explain as we go, like how it's changed the river over just my lifetime since I've been fishing.
Right. So it's become a really good fishery over the last, how many centuries maybe? Is it centuries or decades? Like decades?
For me, decades.
Right.
Back in the day, I mean, they say the river used to run black with Atlantic salmon.
Wow. But they're not native.
The Atlantics, yes.
Oh, are they? They're native.
Yep.
I thought they were ocean fish. But anyway, all right, so tell us a little bit about the river. Like, why is it here? What's its purpose, and the fishery?
Well, the purpose for man is it generates power. Most of the dams are run, I think they're owned by Bloomberg is the name of the company.
Okay.
They own most of the power grid in the Northeast.
So it's mainly a power river. So
it is. However, invested parties and things like that, public comments, and working with regulatory companies as guides, we represent each other as a whole. Mm-hmm. There's agreements and safety considerations for anglers. Like back in the day, they just had the horn and you had to, run away.
Right.
And now it's scheduled, posted online, like I showed you guys last night.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to do raises during the day, only at evenings.
Wow.
So that's the man end of it.
And it flows into Lake Ontario?
Yes.
Okay.
It heads down into the lake, dumps out right by Sodas.
Okay.
And it's a pretty good fishery out there, too, in the spring, honestly.
Okay. So the other thing, too, is this river also holds king salmon, and the kings come up the river, and it's quite the spectacle. I was here a few years ago to see that. But all these fish are coming out of Lake Ontario, right? So they come up the river. This particular trip we're doing is steelhead. So tell us a little bit about the steelhead, if you could, about, why they come up the river and where they're released and how it's all put and take.
All right. Well, the steelhead are... I guess I'll start at the beginning. The steelhead are raised right here in the hatchery. They just did egg take last week.
Okay.
They, as you guys saw when you went in there, they put them up into the chutes and they lift them in and send them back into the river. They raise them up there until they're about 6 to 9 inches, and then they're released right back here into the watershed.
And then they go out into, they float, they swim back to Lake Ontario. They don't actually release them in Lake Ontario.
And that's a big thing we've learned, as scientists and as a, fishing community.
Yeah.
Like, these fish are imprinted. And that's part of the success of this river and its stocking program, is that it's done in the river, part of the system. So they're imprinting as they're raised. And that's what brings them back. Whereas back then, we used to just dump them in the lake and go, why didn't the fish come home?
Right.
They didn't know where home was.
Oh, I see. I see. So, so they release them here, and then as fry, then they go out.
Yeah, they'll stay in the river and chew as smaller fish. You can catch them through summer and spring, 12, 16 inches. Just run a float with a worm like you're brook trout fishing.
So how long does it take them to get from the hatchery, from the time they're released, down to Lake Ontario? Because how far is it?
From here, I believe it's about 18 miles.
So they got to swim 18 miles to the lake.
Yep.
And then how long do you think that takes?
Well, they hold in the river for probably around a year or so, until they're large enough to enter the bigger system. Some will get washed out. Many will turn into food.
Right, right.
Unfortunately, but that's all part of the process,
I see.
Not every fish is meant to survive in nature either.
And then the other thing I want to ask is the lamprey, right? Does the Salmon River hold lamprey, or is that something totally separate?
They treat the river.
Okay.
They treat all the rivers. I believe it's a 3-year cycle. I could be wrong on my timing.
Yeah.
Because that's when they breed. So they'll spawn in the rivers, and then the babies will hang out for multiple years, and that's where they're putting the chemical in that's going to get rid of them.
So the Salmon River does hold lamprey.
Yeah, they're everywhere in the system now.
I see.
They're a highly invasive species.
Right.
They're in the watershed all the way over to Champlain, which is ultimately connected to here.
Right. And then a couple other things before we go out there fishing with you. I can't wait to go in a float boat, and we're going to learn all about that. Does the brown trout, brown trout come up this river, and smallmouth bass as well?
Yes. There's resident browns, there's river browns is what I like to call them, ones that just kind of stay and live here all year.
Yeah.
The bass, there's smaller bass in the system, and in the spring during spawn, they will come out, the lake runs will come up in, you'll get some bigger fish. The browns they're kind of a surprise on this river.
Oh, okay.
They're a special treat. We do have them, the big lake browns.
Right.
My largest out of this river system was somewhere around 17 pounds.
Wow.
And
wow. So, one last thing before we go to break is, what is the food source for these fish? I understand it's plankton and all that stuff, but as they get bigger, what are they eating in here?
So, the mature fish we're chasing today, they're going to be bouncing between eating eggs, bugs, and smolt, like baby salmon that are actually hatching from this fall.
Okay.
They're going to be keyed in on the eggs right now. There should be yellow suckers running up through the river.
Oh, interesting.
And so that's a nice trigger for them. When we get these weird days like today's going to be, where it's below freezing in the morning and 60 this afternoon, we're going to see bugs hatching. So I've had days where, you switch from eggs over to bugs, and that seems to be the ticket. It's just, changes that fast. It's pretty fun.
All right, well, we're going to be back in a few minutes, and we're going to talk more about what we're doing. So, all right, folks, hang tight. We'll be back with more Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped right after this.
I'm Trent from Bridge Up Brewing, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
We're going to let this bad boy go, but wow, look at that fish.
Oh, my God, that's amazing.
Wow. Stay tuned for your outdoor tip of the week.
I'm Marcus McGivney with Grateful Adventures with your outdoor tip of the week. One of the biggest questions we get asked on the river is, what are the fish biting and what are they eating? A lot of the flies that we tie on this river are tied up with UV-based materials. Trout see in a near-infrared scope, so they're seeing things a little bit differently than we do on the color spectrum. Underwater, these things look like they're a different color, and they also almost glow and shine. So as it's coming down through the water column, it's a lot easier for the fish to identify the bait. And because of their type of eyes they have, when they zoom in and get tunnel vision, you're going to get more hookups. So as it's coming by, they will see a lot more of this, and it's shiny, and it's enough to grab their attention and make it the shiniest thing in the pile that they're going to grab and eat. The hooks we use are high carbon, 2X. Our general rule of thumb is if you can bend it with your hand, don't bring it to the river.
Hi, I'm Ben with Burn Pit Barbecue, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
Love fishing, but hate the fishy smell that comes with it? Then you need Sugar Mountain Trading Company's Fisherman's Soap. This all-natural soap is made with charcoal, rose clay, and coffee to remove even the toughest fishy smells. It also leaves your hands feeling soft and smooth. So next time you're out on the water, don't forget to bring your Fisherman's Soap. It's the perfect way to keep your hands clean and smelling fresh. Hey, welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, and boy, what a story I have here right now. So I'm looking for a place in Pulaski, New York, and I wanted to go steelhead fishing, and I was in a little bit of a bind, and we had some issues, and I was looking for a place to come stay for a few days, and a wonderful lady, Susan Dunn, sitting next to me here from the Feeder Creek Lodge, came through and put us up for a couple days, and we're going to talk all about Feeder Lodge with Susan right now. Thank you so much for coming through in the clutch. So we're recording our segment here in the lodge, and it's really a cool little building. Why don't you take a few minutes, talk about what the lodge is?
So this is a 6-bedroom lodge that you would have your own bedroom, you would share a bathroom, and this living area and the kitchen and the outdoor area. So I get some groups will come and rent the whole place to themselves, so they have some privacy. And but in salmon season, it's primarily individual groups of 2 to 5 guys coming in and renting by the room, and they share the rest of the space with other fishermen that they may or may not know. So I find that people either love that or hate it. So right. It's kind of like a dorm setting, you know, which to me is fine, but a lot of people like the camaraderie they get. They can sit around the table together and eat dinner. They can talk about their days,
right, fishing,
their day's catch. Yeah, so it's worked out. It works out really well. Some people don't like the idea of sharing, so they'll rent the entire space.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
So what kind of amenities are in, so I want to come rent a room. What is all included in that?
Sheets, towels, there's shampoo and soap, and there's coffee and little snacks that are available. Like I'll put out like breakfast, kind of grab and go treats.
Yeah. Wi-Fi.
Oh, yep. There's free Wi-Fi. There's Fire Stick TV with a bunch of different things on it. I've got some boats out back. I have a kayak, fishing, like a flat bottom fishing boat, and a paddle boat, so that if people want to use them. There's games and books, and I've got stuff for kids. And
so there's a pond out back.
Yes, there's a very large pond out back with the creek coming into both ends, and so you can there's actually quite good fishing out there as well. For like
really?
The kids love to fish out there. Yeah,
right.
A lot of big bass out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, all these things are getting unwrapped on Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. So that's
wonderful.
Interesting. So that's also part of.
Yes, and there's actually
deal.
9 acres between. Well, that's including my house.
Yeah.
But there's 9 acres. A lot of it is wooded, so you can walk through the woods. You can hike, and I've got snowshoes as well. So
wow.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interesting things in the area to do too. So so it's kind of good for anybody all year round.
Right. So then also you have a 1-bedroom cabin.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that.
So the cabin has it has 3 beds in it. There's a queen bed and a set of bunk beds, and then a small living area with a propane fireplace and a kitchenette, and it has its own little fire pit out back. That's great for small groups or families or kids, people with kids that are looking for a little more privacy than they might get over here. So.
Right. So we come here, we're in the bunkhouse or we're in the cabin. What are some of the attractions? So like, I'm done fishing for the day. I'm back by 1 o'clock. I get cleaned up. What kind of attractions are there in the surrounding area?
One of my favorite is Salmon River Falls. They're beautiful any time of year. Actually, the people that are staying here right now went a couple weeks ago, I think, to the falls. They are great in the wintertime because they freeze.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty, and they're nice they've got walking trails and things like that. We're really close to the lake, to Lake Ontario, so there's a lot of things going on there. There's a lot of beaches, and Port Ontario, there's a lot of historic things in the area.
Okay.
Historic sites from I can't think right now, but
No, but and I've been able to explore a little bit while I'm here, and there are some really cool places. The restaurants and a little bit of things that we've seen are really cool. It's all really close by. So how do people find you?
I have a website. It's feedercreeklodge.com. That's feeder with an F. A lot of people think it's cedar. But yeah.
C-E-E-D-E-R. Cedar.
Well, no, they think it's C-E-D-A-R, like the tree.
Oh.
Cedar Creek. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's feeder.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the website will there's lots of pictures on there. You can call me anytime. And
What's your phone number?
It's 315-378-9240.
One more time, a little slower.
315-378-9240. My name is Susan Dunn, and I'm the only one that will answer that phone.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. This is wonderful. And thank you again for putting us up in such a short notice.
Well, I appreciate you coming, and it's a pleasure to have you, and I hope you come back again.
All right. All right, folks. We'll be back with more Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped right after this. If you got a lot of love and you don't know where to put it. Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, and boy, what a trip we had. Thank you so much, Marcus. I learned so much stuff. Refresh us again, kind of what we did.
This morning we fished right here around behind the camera in the lower catch and release zone.
Right.
And we caught a fish there. Then we went and we floated down. We ran some beads. We ran egg sacs, and we ran a lot of flies. And we got into a couple, touched the ones down there in Ellis. Kind of drifted through and, explained the situation and the scenario of the river to you. And kind of showed you why things are the way they are and where they are and why all these restoration sites are up and everything.
It was really interesting, and I was fascinated with the speed of the water and how shallow it is and how these drift boats handle in that water. And real quickly, we didn't really touch base on the drift boat. What is a drift boat?
So drift boats are a little bit different than your average boat where you have a keel and a center line underneath. These boats are flat bottomed. And they make different bottoms. Mine is polyurethane mixed with Kevlar. So there's about 2 inches of that underneath my boat.
Okay.
And then beyond that, inside you guys saw the wood and stuff on the floor.
Right.
That actually helps keep the aluminum springy. It makes it rebound. So like you
Ah.
felt like the one rock we hit
Yeah.
there, you could feel it go under the boat, you know?
It's like when I'm on an airplane and the tire hits one of the little chuck holes in the runways, right?
Yep, yeah. So like they're built to hit stuff essentially.
Right.
And this boat, as long as you take it in the front and go slow, you can pretty much go over just about any danger you can imagine on the river. And we can skate in 3 or 4 inches of water like you saw.
Yeah.
And
It was amazing.
they're a tool to get into those hard pockets and those spots where you can't hit from shore. And that's the key.
And then the interesting thing too that we were talking about was your logo. And it's Grateful Drifter. And I was like, why is that? And why is it called the Grateful Drifter, but the logo?
So the logo on this boat was actually given to me by the owner before.
Okay.
And I kept it on. It was kind of a match made in heaven.
Right.
The owner of the boat passed away. My business name is Grateful Adventures.
Right.
And so in good faith, I guess, my friends of many years, when it came available, they called me and they're like, we're setting this boat aside for you. It's perfect for you. And it's actually, I rowed this boat many years ago when I first learned to row for somebody else. And to have it come back to me is cool. And I'm looking forward to years of like rebuilding it and keeping it in the water.
Right.
You know?
Rowing is an art, believe me. Folks, when you see this show, it's going to be great. So, okay, and you're a Grateful Dead fan, right?
Obviously, yeah, that's the big thing. And it's actually been a good advertisement tool for me. You know, I
Right.
get a lot of guys that are like, I like them too. And
Right.
generally we all get along, you know, so you meet some good people with it.
All right, so how do people find you?
I have grateful-adventures-llc.com is
Okay.
up on the internet. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, social media stuff. And my number is posted with an email if you actually want to get
Okay,
hold of
and
me
what
directly.
is your phone number? And say it slow.
My number is 352-348-7721.
And if you're looking for an instructional time, if you're looking to catch steelhead, if you're looking for kings here on the Salmon River, that's the guy. Believe me when I'm telling you, this guy. I learned so much, folks, about beads, about hooks, about flies. I learned about plugs. I've learned about rods. So this is the guy right here.
There's definitely a lot of tools in the arsenal when we go down the river.
Exactly. All right, folks. Hang tight. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hi, I'm Maria Milano, owner of Door 44 Winery here in Door County, and you are watching an episode of Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
Secrets Unwrapped is brought to you in part by White Rocks Design Studio at Turcotte Design, who has been serving Southern Vermont for over 20 years. Fish Donkey, the future of tournament fishing. Targets Unlimited, Mercer Sports. Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste. Corker Boots, P-Line, Sugar Mountain Trading Company. The Outdoor Experience Guide Service, who has been serving Southern Wisconsin for over 20 years. Cooler Guard Spray with the cleaning power of enzymes. Okuma Fishing, Hoffman Lures Incorporated, and a proud member of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce.
We'll meet you again. May God bless you. Adios. Wise men say only fools rushing, but I can't help falling in love